And what advice would you give young women aspiring to leadership roles, disregarding the industry, just generally?
Passion.
And how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance?
That's a tough question, Sophia. I think you have to sacrifice certain things, especially.
What personal habits or practices have been most instrumental in your growth as a leader?
For me, probably is leading by example. Usually, there is nothing in my office that I cannot do. Because if you don't know how to do it, how are you going to supervise? How are you going to train? So if you want to lead, people need to respect you. And that's tough. And some people tell me, oh, he will be a lawyer. When they talk about my kids, like, you know what? I want my kid to be happy. And that's what I consistently tell my kids. I want you to be happy.
Welcome to Economy, the podcast dedicated to celebrating the rising influence of women in today's economy. I'm your host, Sophia, and today I have with me Maria Rubert, who has made a mark as an arbitrator and lawyer across multiple continents. Beyond her legal prowess, Maria is also an influential educator, speaker, and YouTuber. Maria, welcome, and I'm thrilled to have you with me today.
I'm so excited to be here with you today, so thank you for thinking of me.
So to kick off, what initially sparked your interest in pursuing a career in law?
Wow, that's a tough one to start. I wanted to be absolutely everything. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I've done a little bit of a traffic controller. I've done a little bit of communications. I've done a little bit of political science, what I actually completed. Okay. But my family was completely against me being a lawyer. Oh. So I had to fight it. It was actually during the September 11. I was studying to be an air traffic controller because supposedly has a good exit professional career in Spain. I was in the US. Okay. So it was tough because we were studying aviation. We had to do research on aviation. So the FBI knocked on the door of a few colleagues in my class. So I used that. They never knocked on my door. Yeah. But I used that to tell my parents that it was very difficult as a foreigner to do a traffic controller. Yeah. So finally, after several backs and forths, they accepted me to do what I always wanted to be. I wanted to build a career on international law. It was a passion. I knew. At the beginning, I thought maybe an ambassador, maybe career, public office. But then I met arbitration, the love of my career life.
Amazing. So you've lived in and worked in Spain, in the US, and now in the UAE, each with its unique cultural and legal landscape. How did you adapt these in these different environments?
It's been very easy. Actually, I moved to the US when I was still a minor. I was 17, and the moment I landed in Spain, in the US, I felt that you could become what you set yourself to become, that they appreciated opportunity. This was in the 1990s. Then when I moved to the UAE, because there was a big crisis due to 2008 worldwide crisis, there was the UAE was in need of practitioners with experience in arbitration. So I didn't even know where Dubai was back in the days, but I came because they told me that it was, and I had the same feeling. In the UAE, you can become what you set yourself to be. You fight enough. So it was very natural.
Amazing. So as far as I know, you were part of a championship-winning football team. How did that experience influence your life? And would you encourage young people, especially maybe your own children, to pursue professional sports?
Definitely. With my elder, I don't know if I'll have that luck. With my young one, it looks more promising. But I was born being an athlete. The first time I walked, my parents tell that I was walking towards a football ball.
Wow.
But of course, as you can expect, I had to fight to become a lawyer, and I had to fight to be able to play football in Spain in the 90s. It was not it was not good that a woman played football. So with all the pressures, I quit. My parents were happier that I played tennis. I was a very good athlete, so anything I could do pretty much. So I changed the football for the tennis at some point. And then, of course, I quit. At the end, I quit tennis because I didn't love it sufficiently as to sacrifice my education. Because I got to the point that I had to stop education, move to Barcelona and do it professionally. I loved studying. I was a good student, so I decided not to. But then I moved to the US with a scholarship by the Ford Motors. So when I landed in the US, they said, do you play sports? I was like, whoa, it's been a long time that I haven't, but I could. So I started playing football, I started playing tennis, and I started getting offers from universities. I was very surprised that football in the US is a women's sport.
Yeah.
So at the end, all made sense. Actually, it helped me. And actually, I was given the scholarship because Ford Motors, they knew that if you do sports in the US, you have greater chances to adjust well to the community.
True. Yeah.
So it was, at the end, it was fantastic.
Nice.
And at the end, I was able to tell my parents, you see, you can
both.
play football. Yes.
Amazing. And what is your source of energy?
A few years back, I read that you can be either introvert or extrovert, right? And where do you get energy? I find that the periods of my life that I am more energetic, I sleep very little. Yes, so I think that I need to recharge being alone. I am always with people, but I do recharge being alone. I need to be alone. Sometimes I have the need to be a little bit alone. With my kids is fine, but I'm saying with major people.
Yeah.
But I think energy doesn't come from sleeping, doesn't come even from food. I think that energy comes from dreaming. So I practice to have a dreams diary. So every day I try to just
Spend some time.
dream about something. Yeah, usually before I go to
Visualize.
sleep, I try to think about something that I would like. Sometimes it's a small thing, it's small big things. You know, we have an issue in the office. I really, my dream is that this gets fixed as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think about potential solutions. And this is something that I practiced when I was very young. I don't know if you have the same experience when we were studying. Whatever you read before going to sleep, the next morning, it seemed to be in your head.
It's true.
So
yes.
I have.
So you use that same similar concept with life.
With life, but I believe that we need to teach our children to dream. To dream, even if it sounds crazy, even if it looks impossible.
Yeah.
No, there is no dream that is impossible.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. And how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance?
This is very difficult. I think you have to sacrifice certain things, especially when we have been athletes. Before being a mommy, I was big on the gym. I mean, I didn't dedicate huge time, but I had a very effective training session. Sometimes it was 30 minutes. You were great, no? You could play paddle, you could play. I think that's the single thing that I need to work on, how to get it into my life. But as your kids grow, extracurricular, the business issues at the office, it's difficult. It's difficult. So that's the single thing. But luckily I have a dog. I've had him for 13 years. He's my big boy. And I push myself to at least walk him 3-4 times a week, which is already an accomplishment.
Yeah. And that kind of gets the healthy side of things.
Yeah.
But,
I don't have my watch now, but I try to keep track on the
steps.
At least that's a minimum.
Yeah. No, true. So moving a little bit into career, what are the key qualities that female leaders in the legal field should cultivate, do you think, to succeed?
I think that women leaders or even men leaders is very important to. That's a tough question, Sophia. What can you cultivate? I think, and I think it applies for most everyone. I think if you want to be recognized as a leader in everything you do, you need to be the first one to show by your actions how things are done.
So lead by example.
By example. And also very important, I find, over my career, I've had aggressive bosses, not aggressive enough, So I think assertiveness is something that we should all be taught. So to say things in the right way, I think is very important. I'm working on it. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I think it's very important. Empathy, assertiveness, and leading by example.
Yeah, and they're good qualities to have. And then, what challenges have you faced as a woman in a male-dominated industry like law?
It's an interesting one, but contrarily to what most people would think, especially when they don't have experience within the UAE and the Arab world, I have found myself with more freedom here and more respected here in the UAE. I always say that when I was younger in my career, I used to go to conferences, arbitration conferences especially, and the age average, I was very below. And especially when I was younger, I've always been casual. So I think people, I witnessed it, I saw it, I experienced it. People tend to look down at you because you were young, you were a woman, so there were certain expectations as to age. It's okay, you see elder arbitrators, but here in Dubai, here in the UAE, you see arbitrators that are younger, you see professionals that are younger, and I've never been looked at from above, even because I was a woman or I was young. So I do remember with a bad feeling those looks at me like this. I was fine because I knew I would give my business card and they would change, but
no, true. And what advice would you give young women aspiring to enter and thrive in the legal field?
To choose the topic that you love and get experience. It doesn't matter if they don't pay you. You get an internship in a good firm. You get an internship in a public authority. Take it, because I think the most difficult is to land your first real job. And in order to land your first real job, you will need to prove that you know something. It's like making it to the UAE. If you are not able to evidence that you have done something in the UAE, your value is very little. This is the same. Give yourself value. Be willing to work hard and maybe a little pay at the beginning to build your CV. Write. Create content about the subject matter that you love. You like maritime law, arbitration, whatever it is that you love. Don't do anything in life for money. Do it because you love it, and money will follow.
So take the opportunities that come your way, even if they seem small, go for it because you'll gain experience through that, right?
Definitely.
And how do you see technology and innovation changing the legal industry?
I think there are going to be changes that we can't even think about. No, all the CRMs that we have today already in the arbitration world is fantastic, because when we as arbitrators or legal counsel in arbitration, when there is a hearing, we need to have the full set. Translators, camera, recording, etc. So we already see loads of improvement. Even commercial arbitration is international arbitration. So technology nowadays makes proceedings to be much faster. So it's time, it's cost for the parties. So technology is helping out. We'll see when technology starts making decisions. We will see, but we need to be careful, because Maybe one day ChatGPT will start drafting final awards. Let's hope it doesn't happen soon.
Yeah. So at the moment, it's more helping with efficiency, perhaps in processes.
And breaching the distances.
Yeah.
Is
And in your experience, how can law firms and legal institutions create a more inclusive workplace for women?
I think time flexibility should be a must. Now that I'm a mom, for example, I used to think when I saw young females in my offices before leaving around 5, I used to say, these people don't work. These people don't work. Now I'm a mommy, and I don't leave at 5. I try to leave at 4. Yeah, because sometimes my kids fall asleep 6:30 or 7. So from 4 to 7, I block my days. Sometimes it's 5 to 7, sometimes it's less. But no one sees the hours that you are working at night. So I think this flexibility needs to be in place. Otherwise, it would be impossible for women lawyers to have a family. Because having a family is not delivering a baby. It's taking care of the baby.
Right.
So we need to give that support. And women, the great thing about hiring, because some people are also concerned about hiring women with kids, but the responsibility that a mother brings, mothers are on everything. And because they know better than anyone how to care, they will show that care also, not only to clients, but also to colleagues.
Correct.
So I think that the experiences that come with being a mom are great for professionals.
Yeah, I love that point, and I have to agree. So, Maria, in your view, how important are marriage contracts, especially for expat women in the UAE, and who stands to benefit the most from them?
I believe it's a must. I think that love is transitory craziness. Yes. So it's fine, but I think decisions should not be made a night out, or I'm not saying that you get married a night out. I'm saying that when you are in love, you may make decisions that you wouldn't make otherwise. In my experience as a lawyer, love disappears later on when we come to divorce. Yeah, because I only talk to couples that love left them. Yes. So I think it's good to make decisions and also keep in mind that when you go through divorce, sometimes the same way that you don't make the same decisions when you are high up on happiness, you don't make the same decisions when you are low here. So marriage contracts, be it prenup or you can make them later on, help avoid the ups and the downs. You can agree on everything in the event that you will get divorced. So this helps bring this decision-making and not passionate thinking, be it because you are very happy, be it because you are extremely upset at whatever that can happen.
Correct.
Someone can cheat, someone can leave, someone can be not acting the way you would want them to act. At the end of the day, you get married, usually it's because you want to have a family, so you need to protect the interest of the children. So this will avoid.
It'll take the emotion out of those decisions at the highs or the lows. I take
The emotion out of it, because it's very complicated. It's the toughest. As a lawyer, handling divorces is the toughest because it's the matter that is closest to clients. Then second, employment disputes.
Correct.
Yes, so that's commercial disputes. At the end of the day, is money.
Correct.
Companies and money comes and goes. But a divorce is very difficult. And employment disputes are also very difficult. So ensure, protect the kids, and also save the relationship. Whether you like it or not, you will be in the life of your kids forever. So it's better that you agree, whether you do it in advance or whether you do it later on. You can also do a divorce agreement. Yes? So this will help saving the relationship. So
Thank you for that. What are the most critical legal rights that expat women have in the UAE, especially in terms of family or employment?
Things have changed significantly. We have a new law, not only in terms of, for example, joint custody. Also, there is a compensation for women. This applies to non-Muslim, but there is a compensation for women as well, which was not in the law before. Also, if someone was to pass today, the law recognizes the equality. So irrespective of no longer fear of Sharia. So I see very little weak points as to the law, because the law has been brought up to international standards. Yeah. And in employment, the same. Maybe in employment as women, there is room to improve maternity leave. There is room for improvement. I see many women getting fired when they try to expand a little bit on the maternity leave. As a business owner, I also understand the problems that arise, because if someone is out for 4 months, you need to do a replacement, and then later on you have a problem, if you cannot keep both of them. So I see both sides, the business owner side and the women's side. But I think we were talking about time flexibility. Yeah. I think if both parties are flexible, I think there are midterm solutions for mummies to be more in the house and maybe working from the house for a given number of weeks or months post-delivery.
So Maria, looking back, what are some of the key milestones in your career that you're most proud of?
I think I think it will be my first year in the US. My first year in the US was tough. I didn't speak the language. In Spain, they teach you to write and they teach you to read, but they don't teach you to speak it or to understand others. So my first year was very tough. But looking back, I didn't think, not even 1 second, to give up and going back. Many people ask me, it's very brave what you have done in the UAE, and I say, I don't think so. I don't really think so. For me, the really tough year was my first year in the US. Luckily, I found beautiful people that helped me a lot, and I owe them that they helped me, they supported me, and they not only supported me during the first year, but even after in my stay in the US. And I think I owe them significantly, because if I would have given up, it would have been tough. Then also, when I arrived to the UAE, it was great. I was working many long hours, 6 days a week, with split shifts in the middle, 8:30 to 1 and 4 to 8:30, 1 day off. And I had to study for my New York bar, because I had just finished my master's degree. So I remember I used to go from the 1 to 4 o'clock to a Chili's to study for my New York bar. So I passed the New York bar with 3 months studying 3 hours a day. So that was very tough, because I remember Fridays was my only day off, and I couldn't do anything. I was every single day in front of documents for my first year. So the 3 months in preparation of the New York bar was very tough, but it opened, because it gives you credibility. You pass the New York bar, you know something about law. Yeah. If you passed it. So that allowed me to improve my career in the UAE by gaining credibility. So it was worth it.
Amazing. What personal habits or practices have been most instrumental in your growth as a leader?
For me, probably is leading by example. I don't like to give. Also, I don't like to give instructions. I like people to have tasks, but usually there is nothing in my office that I cannot do. That's because if you don't know how to do it, how are you going to supervise? Yeah. How are you going to train? How are you going? So I am a hands-on person, and I think most people in my office many times say, we don't know how you do it. But I think behind that, we don't know how you do it, there is respect. So if you want to lead, people need to respect you. And that's tough, because Gaining is one thing, maintaining that respect for a long time, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy, no, for sure. And what are your future aspirations, both professionally and personally, over the next 5 years?
Well, I'm very happy. We just set up a new company
Congratulations.
for real estate, because I think the industry is missing integrity. I think the subject matter that I handle most in litigation and arbitration has been real estate. And most of the disputes are created by agents, perhaps because they are new, they don't know how they do things, they want their commission, and then they are not in the industry for a long time. So this is especially applicable for off-plan. The sales team sells you something, then you come back 2 years later. Oh no, that person is not here anymore. So we had very bad experiences with a few agents before the summer. So we decided to set up our own real estate agency that is going to be managed by someone else. I'm not going to be in the day-to-day of the company, but I'm going to be somehow involved in the takeoff of the agency.
Yeah.
And then personally, I am in between another kid or another dog.
So watch the space, which way that goes.
So I'm afraid that it will be both.
Or both.
Or both. We'll see.
Amazing. And what advice would you give young women aspiring to leadership roles, disregarding the industry, just generally?
Passion. I mean, first, in choosing, I think that we do something majorly wrong as parents or as generation. When kids are in high school, it needs to start very early. I mean, it needs to start even before, even when they are in nursery. When they ask me, and some people tell me, "Oh, he will be a lawyer." When they talk about my kids, like, you know what? I want my kid to be happy. I don't care. And that's what I consistently tell my kids. I want you to be happy. So I'm a lawyer. I don't know what they will be. But I think if you consistently, and how do you know you are in the right direction? I think you need to think about, okay, I could study a traffic controller, or I can study to be a lawyer. When you think about something that moves you, you get the sparks here. So you need to follow what sparks you. Right here.
Your passion.
Your passion. If you do that, you will excel.
Absolutely.
Even if you are horrible, you spend the same horrible playing soccer, playing football, and you spend 25 hours a day at the pitch, you will never be Messi. Yes? So do what you do good. Do what makes you happy. And then you will excel. Yeah? And this we should apply to everything. We should only do what we are good at, because we can do beautiful things if we are good at it.
Amazing. Thank you, Maria. And I'm sure all the listeners will appreciate all your lovely tips. And I really enjoyed this episode. It was really great chatting to you. And again, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.